How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, or Stanley Parable 2, whatever you want to call it. With me, Anonymous Disco. So, there's still some more endings to grab out there. Last we left off, we collected all 6 figurines. Now, I've heard that there's also... Whoa,
Stanley, I'm sorry,
hell?
but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Alright. So yeah, this one I wasn't aware of. I just thought you collected the 6 figurines and then that's... When Stanley found the collectibles. This guy's really taking a stroll down memory lane. He really was into those figurines. The British Academy of Film Television Arts. What was it? The Last of Us 1, but he put the Stanley Parable. Shapes, graphs, National Geographic, Cargo, Time, Indoors Monthly. It's another achievement I saw. Apparently there's an achievement for not playing the game for 10 years. It's called Super Go Outside. It's like, how the fuck? I guess you probably just set the timer on your console or whatever. Which I'm going to try to do, actually. 2013, when the Stanley Parable released. Here we go.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Can I get another collectible? I love this. Just like all these people just reaching and trying to grab it. It's kind of freaky. It's really cool. 7 of 6. Wonder how many you can end up getting.
And here was the second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I think it's the boss's bathroom. I think.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Is that true? I always heard it was like 7
Let's see.
times.
What
like
came
you have
next?
To do... Whoa. This is a cool looking room. Grab his little screenshot.
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
A big apple or something? How should I know?
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
How you found it. By the narrator. What's that back there? It's mini stand number 5. It's a little like motivational video. That's great.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
8 minutes. That's too good.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay
so
here,
clever.
keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
He really likes these figurines, man.
Okay,
You know what?
yes,
I
the
wouldn't
room
mind if
with
I
the
had a
red
real
and
life
blue
one. That would be
doors.
nice.
I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
If I could have like a real Stanley, I would like that. I wonder if they have those. Maybe buy one. Put it on the shelf. You know what I mean?
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh, so we're back in the conference room and when he first introduced the collectibles.
Look, it's
We're
the
really
terrible
going
new
backwards.
content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
That was a very cool ending. We hadn't discovered it yet. I wonder if
This is the story of a man
that's-
named Stan.
next time we beat the game, if the ending will, I don't know, it'll be our last.
All
or
of his
whatever.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I've heard that you can get up on this desk and then get out through the window. Hey, I did it!
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
What? Just like being in the white room? I kind of want to explore it.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected Continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this
Okay, I'm
is
sick of this
lucky.
gag.
Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Wonder if anything, what else would happen. The sequel is now paused. Begin the game again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, I got up so easily the first time. There we go. Come on, baby.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
I guess this guitar line just keeps going on for a little while. Maybe it just keeps going on forever. And it is, they just want me to restart. It's a nice little guitar line, though. Okay, let's begin the game again. Now, actually, I was doing a little research. I was looking into things. I went down to the public library, and used their internet to do a little research about this game. But I think now that I've got the figurines ending, yes, see, now the epilogue option has become available. So now we can go to epilogue and see the epilogue ending. Because I think he always said that he wanted an epilogue when he was originally talking about the Stan Parable 2. Many, many years later. mean, so it's almost like, oh. It's almost like this skip time button ending, but we're still kind of going along. I'm sorry, this one's really tripping me out. Make me think of like immortality and shit. Like, if you actually were immortal, that would fucking suck, actually. It would be the worst. We're back at the memory zone. Oh, what's this? Cookie Nine's blog. Review the Stanley Parable. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parry, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this version feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, I found the bucket to be quite comforting, a welcome reprieve from blah blah blah. Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. Real Web. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise, but a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that the Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want. Reads the press release. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. What's this? Oh, they're like the name buttons to that it says your name. I think it was like Jim or something. I wonder if does it still work?
Jim Stanley.
Oh, it does. Jim Stanley.
Stanley. Jim.
So it's just Jim and Stanley. Hey, here's all the figurines. Gotta collect them all. $26 figurines. this leading? Hello again. It's nice to see you. Oh, it's the setting guy. Oh, nice. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It is not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we need to do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. The Stanley Parable 3. Baby, expired, lavish, the last ever, danger of, it's either me or the explosion. Okay. Oh, they all sound good. I like, you know what I'm thinking? I think it's either me or the paperwork. Stanley Parable 3. It's either me or the paperwork. That's good. I like that. The Stanley Parable 3. It's either me or the paperwork. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll be just the same content, recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have the say as well. Let's do it. Good. Then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you that broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself and forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. It is 3:45. Oh, I gotta. 3:45 p.m. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. You are playing the Stanley Parable 3. It's either me or the paperwork. That's great, man. What a clever little ending.
This is the... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So he said he fixed the... Okay, so new content. Do we need to... Stanley, return to Expo Hall. So now I can use the achievement button or the achievement slider or whatever to get that achievement. I wonder if the narrator will say anything. If it'll be like, how do you get that working?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Hey, hey.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Okay, hey, here it is, the new achievement. Get it here. Oh, I'm looking forward to that achievement. It better give it to me. Let me piss if it doesn't.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... What? Wait, what in the holy hell is going on?
He does...
You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure, composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Sorry, I might have cut that off a little early, but there we have it. There's, I guess, the epilogue ending. It kind of goes in tandem with the figurines ending as well. But there's still more endings to see out there in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. One's, I don't know if that maybe necessarily we've got all the new Ultra Deluxe endings or not, but, I know there's a few more, and we can come back and kind of do another run, try to get a few more. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Like and subscribe. We'll be back with more Stanley Parable soon. And have a good rest of your day. See you later.